What's up, family? We are back with another episode of Talks with T podcast, and today I have somebody that gets on my absolute nerves, but he can get on my nerves for the rest of my life. Okay, my husband. That's your camera right there. Okay, don't look at my camera.
What's up? What up, world?
Now, some of y'all might know him through my TikTok, through my Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be saying he funny, but he get on my nerves. But anyway, so he's here once again. Talks with T podcast is about bringing the 757 talent out. It's about having conversations, the conversation that you might not want to have, but we're having them in a safe space, and we're just being pure with it, but we also being honest so everybody can watch. Okay, so that's what we're about. So like I said, today we have my husband Gerald Lamar White. Many people know him as G. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, but he does a lot of things. But this is my hubby, my chocolate,
Hey,
my teddy bear.
Hey,
okay, the only person that could take me away from how it hurt. Okay, hey. All right. So we're gonna be talking about how he did that because many didn't make it.
You didn't make the cut. If you're watching this, you didn't make the cut.
Weak, but okay, baby.
We're sorry.
Okay, baby. Baby, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the people.
Right, so obviously, like she just said, my whole government. My name is Gerald Lamar White. Yeah, she's the only one that can call me Lamar. But obviously, you know, people within my industry and within my cloaker industry that I'm dealing with, so they call me G White. G White, White. Anything that's within the close line of those things, I'll pretty much almost accept. So yeah, that's what that is. I am a full-time lover of God. I am also a full-time husband.
My God, I love God.
Worship. We're gonna worship in here everywhere.
I ain't never heard him say that before.
Come on now.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah, I'm a servant of God. Number one. After that, I'm also a great husband. I'm also a great leader. I'm also a great teacher.
A teacher where?
Oh, a teacher. So I teach 7th grade math, but I also teach with my nonprofit called Music Tech. We'll talk about that sooner than later. But I also do a plethora of other different things. So for lack of a better term, I'm like a Swiss Army knife. I do a little bit of everything. You know, we figure it out as we go. So, yeah.
You forgot to talk about the most important part of you that you love the most, music.
Come on now. So I'm a musician. I'm a musician at heart, but I do recording studio work. I own a recording studio.
Come on, drop it. Who you work with? What's up?
Different things. I mean, you know, we was gonna develop it to.
Nah, go ahead, drop it.
Just go ahead and drop it. Just go ahead and be cocky with it. That's okay. So, I do a little bit of everything. So, I'm an audio engineer. I'm a music producer. I also manage a couple of different other audio engineers and music producers. Alongside what I just said, I'm also owner of a studio called Black Element Recording Studios. So, you know, we do anything dealing with our recording services, and we also do artist development. So with all of those things, I work with different people like Brent Faiyaz. I work with Beyonce. I work with Nipsey Hussle, God rest the dead. I work with many different people vocals that I've touched and that I've done. I had the pleasure and pristine honor of working with, and yeah, you know, it's 2024, so you know,
so
ready to keep going on.
So babe, tell me if you're not gonna answer this.
Come on, I'm gonna answer.
Remember when you told me about, and then I asked you, I said, who is somebody that you saw when you was in the streets of LA? And she was like, ugh, they was nasty.
They said, ugh, they was
like
nasty.
They want what they
I want vibe with them type vibe.
Yeah, are you comfortable to drop names?
Am I comfortable to drop names? Talks with T exclusive still. Exclusive.
Tell me one of the famous people you met and you was like, I could have done without.
I'm gonna be real with you. All the famous people that I met, thankfully, because I had some brothers, like shout out to Mike and Keys, because they were really the people who brought me into the industry. I was under their cloak. Between them and 1500 and nothing. Shout out to Rance, Diddy. Shout out to him. No Diddy, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, we still call brother Diddy. Yeah.
Wait, we talking about Diddy? We talking about Diddy?
No. We just call him Diddy of the music producer because he is that person.
I'm about to say, you never told me you worked with Diddy.
No, I ain't never worked with Diddy.
Okay, you weren't at the parties.
No Diddy.
Okay, I had to make sure he went at the parties.
No. But to be honest with you, when it comes to artists, all the artists that I came across were pretty chill and pretty cool.
Nah,
they're
babe.
normal people.
There was
now,
one person you told me about.
Now I want to talk to you about the person though. Now there was a songwriter that I was dealing with, and because when I had my time, I had a run when I was in LA for about 2.5, 3 years, right before the pandemic hit. So she's not telling them in the backstory, so you all won't know nothing about it unless I say it. So when I was there, I was just working with a bunch of different songwriters. LA is like the songwriting capital to me, and to get by in the music industry, you really do and meld with the songwriters and producers more than anybody else. So with my time working with different songwriters, it was just one particular songwriter that I was working with. I'm not gonna say his name, but he done a lot of different things with some good people like Tory Lanez and a couple other great people.
No, you told me about an artist that you said the interaction was not it.
Oh, that's the one you want. So
you don't remember? Because I'm not bringing him up if you're not gonna bring him up. It was a female. You saw them in the studio.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. With a K?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I was in there. It's crazy. The same day I worked up with Beyonce, I worked with somebody else that day. And the person was cool. I didn't have no ill intent towards them, whatever this and that. They was great peoples. The thing was, attitude was just a little, snobby, But at the end of the day, it was expected because of the type of person and the stature of who the person was.
Did it make you not want to listen to their music no more?
To be honest with you, no, because I dealt with harsher people, and that's the type of person I was about to talk to you about.
Okay.
With the songwriter, because that's probably like my top of the list. He calls my phone right now. He or she calls my phone right now. I'm definitely not picking up. I don't care. It is what it is.
So what did they do?
I mean, the person was just so snobby to the point where it was just like the person didn't want to roll up their own, recreational things. They didn't want to deal with that.
Basically, they wanted to be served. They wanted to be served.
They wanted everything served to them on a silver platter. And I was just like, hey, you still don't know what you want, right? And you trying to communicate this, that you don't know what you want, but I want it to be done now. And it's like, bro, what do you really want?
That was
interesting.
That wasn't even your job title.
It wasn't my job title.
Because you're an engineer.
At that time, I was called that day to be an engineer.
Okay, so let's pause. Let's go back to that. Let's tell the people, okay, so you went to Heritage High School.
Okay, you want to go all the way back. Let's go back.
After you left Heritage High School, then you told your mama, I want to go live my dreams. Like, go ahead. What's the story there?
So I'll get a full story. So obviously, I met my beautiful. I'm gonna be very short, but
don't be long.
Don't be
because you talk too much.
I met my beautiful wife when we were still in high school. So during this time, I was attending that Heritage High School. Got my degree there in 2009. From that point, I went off and I went to Norfolk State
He met me, but he didn't want me.
It was a lot of situations
at that time.
It was a lot of things going on. Long story. A young man being a young man. So that was what it was, and we'll just say what she said. I did not truly want her. I wasn't really standing in that commitment of wanting my wife.
Because he was dating somebody else.
At that moment, yeah.
Period.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna talk about it too much though. We ain't gonna get too much.
And we all good. Cause shout out to her. Shout out to her. We love her.
Shout out to her and her husband. Solid family over that end. But moving forward though, went to Norfolk State University. My first semester there, I was, introduced to like music production prior before. So, when I got there, I had one of my great influences. Shout out to Dr. Zachary, who's down there at Prairie View University down there in Texas. He was my advisor at the time at Norfolk State. And he said, man, look, man, bet always on yourself and, follow your dreams fully. And at that moment in time, my feeling and my vibe was more towards music production. So I took a risk. From that point, I got an LLC. My first LLC, started throwing parties, and I started doing a recording studio. I would travel with the recording studio. I would set it up at people's houses.
How old were you then?
In my dorm. That time I was like 18, 19. So after my first semester, I'm still just, figuring things out. Just like any college student who don't have it all the way figured out. Get through college. It's December 2014. I graduated from there, from Norfolk State University again. And I went to Newport News and Hampton area. I went back to my side of the water. From that point, I linked up with a guy named Gus. Shout out to Gus, one of my guys I've been really rocking with since I was in college. So he kind of put me on to some different things dealing with the studio, and from there, I networked with him right after school, and he was able to give me my first main studio gig. From that point, I ran with him for maybe like a year and a half. And then some things happened with him, and he needed to pack up all his equipment and leave. So at that point, I figured like, well, let me go ahead and, figure out what I need to do, whether I need to move studios or whatever. But at that moment, I was like, man, look, I need this equipment because this is thousands of dollars of equipment, and this is what's kind of helping to aid into my brand and my sound. So I had to boss up, and I had to ask him. I said, all right, so how much you gonna sell the equipment for? We figured out a studio price list, and within the next year or two, I bought him out.
That's a studio. That's a studio that you at now.
Yeah, the current studio that I have right now, Black Element Recording Studio. So,
that's in Hampton.
Yes, in Hampton, Virginia. So yeah, I eventually started owning it. During that time, I was traveling up and down the East Coast, dealing with different battle rappers. Shout out to Arsenal the Rebel from Newark, New Jersey. Solid guy. He created his own battle rap league, so he had a lot of great traction going on, and traveling up and down with him on the East Coast.
But baby, when did you make the decision to go to LA?
I'm getting there. So during that time, things was going real well, and at that moment, I felt like, you know what, I could really settle here in Virginia. But at that moment, I felt like, with me and my two other business partners, shout out to Theory and shout out to Stevie Park, my brothers for life.
Yes, I love y'all. They was in our wedding.
Yes. So, man, we've been having discussions every single day at the studio, and we just like, man, look, bro, we sharks inside of a pond right now, but let's really test the waters, because we really want to be sharks amongst other sharks. So let's go to a place like the ocean, and let's be amongst other sharks, and really see if we earned our stripes, or lack of a better term. So we just said, forget it. Top of 2018, we just took a risk in January and said, we gonna bet on ourselves. We moved out to LA. All three of us together, all the money, we probably had $3,000 or $4,000 all together a piece together. And we figured it out. We got out the mud. My first 2-3 weeks out there, I landed an internship with Mike and Keys. And that was under doing things with like Nipsey Hussle and a bunch of different artists through Mike and Keys. So during that time, I want to say Nip was still in his he was in more of his post-production for the Victory Lap album. So from that point, I'm coming in during that time. I'm meeting him the first week of dealing with Mike and Keys. I'm meeting different people like Guap Dad 4000. Meeting other people like Buddy. I mean people like Hitmaker. I mean people like Ty Dolla $ign. As I'm walking out of the studio.
Struggling though.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely still struggling.
Because you said you was living on the studio floors.
So getting to that. So at that time, with the first 3-4 weeks of me being out there, we still in Airbnb. After the first 2 months of the Airbnb, we ain't had no money left. Obviously, it's $3,000, $4,000. It's not lasting long in LA. It's barely gonna last somebody a month. And then at that time, it lasted us a little longer, so we made it stretch. But after the first 2 months, we moved. And shout out to Imani. Saying the E train always gonna go. So I hollered at the homie Imani from college. She was out there. She was at the time, I think she was working with Sony Music and then Paramount. So we was working, and we already had a great relationship. And so I said, look, man, can you take a risk and can we stay in your 1-bedroom apartment? But it ain't just me. It's me and 2 other guys that you really don't know. And can we just crash out in your living room and figure it out? I'll pay half your rent and we can figure things out. So she was allowing of that, and great. I'm so grateful for it too, because that helped us right before a pivotal moment. After that lasted for a few until it wore down on the relationship a little bit. And as I think with anybody who wants to keep coming in the house and from that 9 to 5 and house smelling like guys and all this and that, dishes not done and all this and that. So, at that point, I felt like it was just proper for me to be like, hey, look, it's time for us to go ahead and make our exit, because I don't want us to strain no more on our relationship. And so we moved out. We found probably another Airbnb for a month, and at that point, I made a decision to just go ahead and stay in LA. I had so much going on in LA, and I'm spending $200-$300 and just
let's talk about that because now we get into what I want to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
You was dating somebody at the time.
I was dating somebody.
He was dating somebody at the time. I was dating somebody at the time. Mm-hmm. We dated his person and my person, and those the same amount of. Those are our longest relationships.
Those was our longest
before us. Like that was, and they were both our first love. That was your first. Like, can you say that was your real first love?
I can.
If not, it was my first real love.
So can I ask you this? So, being that was your first love, do you feel like that probably was going to be the person that you was going to marry?
No, yeah, I was going to marry him.
Okay, so then I'll be honest and I'll say that was the person I was.
Yeah, you was thinking to marry.
In that moment in time, oh, this is the person I was going to marry.
Right,
yeah, for sure. Right.
So, to go straight to what I really want to talk about today is our relationship, because so many people ask about us, how we started, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, crazy story, y'all. So he's in LA. He's living the dream, but he's still struggling. He with old girl. I'm with old boy. Crazy thing is that I was in Africa with my dad on a mission trip.
You are.
And I was engaged at the time. So I was completely done with my first love. We had broken up.
I didn't know.
He did not know. I was engaged to an African. All right. I was engaged to an African, and I'm in Africa, and we had just broken up. Gerald had no clue. It was not public knowledge. I'm still wearing the ring, all that type of stuff. Yeah. So I was supposed to be going to Essence Festival with my sisters from Tallahassee. Shout out to Anita, Talithia, Shamba. Shout out to them.
Hey, the squad.
So I was supposed to be going to Essence Festival in July. Essence Festival is always in July. So, but my sisters, one had just got married, one was pregnant. It was too much going on. So they canceled on me. And at this point, I'm the only one single and don't got a baby on the way. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to cancel, whatever the case may be. So shout out to Instagram. I shout on Instagram. I'm like, yo, I'm selling my Essence Festival ticket. Anybody want it? Because I had already paid for the tickets. This man hits me and was like, yo, I know somebody that wants your ticket. Now, mind you, I've known Gerald since I was 15. So it was nothing for him to hit my DM. Nothing. It was straight platonic. That's the right word, right? Platonic.
That's going to be the word we're using today, platonic.
That's the right word, right? That means
That's our word today.
Oh, my God.
Platonic.
It was no romantic feelings involved. He was just saying, I want your ticket. Platonic. So I'm like, all right, bet, cool. So we start talking through that. So, of course, me being a woman that I am, I'm like, yo, how you and your girl? So then he said, yo, we broke up. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you was all up in the tea.
Like, what?
He was all up in the tea at that point.
I was concerned for real.
No, you were concerned. I was concerned. You was genuinely concerned.
Yeah, because you look like you was happy.
But at the same time, though, stop playing like you ain't really want to know the tea, too. He was like,
oh, yeah, I wanted to know the tea.
Tea being.
I want to know the tea, but I really was concerned about you.
No, you were, though.
Because that girl was the second girl that I had seen you in public with.
Yeah, for sure.
So I knew it was something serious, and we were getting older. So I was like, oh, this must be the one.
Yeah.
So he was like, we're not together no more, but we'll talk about that at a later date. And what I respect, he had no clue that I was single, not single. He didn't know nothing. But it was just casual conversation. Like, he ain't crossed no boundaries, no nothing. But he did kind of hint, like, I've been watching you. I did not know this boy had been watching on my social media all these years. And I'm like, boy, he been watching me. Like, what's up with that? And I had posted one of them things, like, you know them things that people post back in the day, and it was like, oh, the number thing. And he had hit me back with one of the numbers. I'm like, that's what you really think of me? Like, he was like, yeah, I've always felt this way about you. And he, like, really empowered me from that moment, because I was in a very dark place then.
And, you know, honestly, I'm going to be real with you, because I think you hit me and was like, yo, that's what you really think of me? And it was like, nah, that ain't what I think of you. That's what I know of you.
Yeah, that threw me off. I was like, what? So at this time, he still don't know that I'm broken up from an engagement. So we talking just as friends, y'all, because at this point we're in Africa. I'm in Africa. It's a different timeline, so I'm up, everybody else sleep. So we keep talking. I get back, on my way back, he hit me and was like, yo, the person reneged on me. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's cool, because I think my ticket was like $200 something. Yeah. I was like, it's cool, like, don't worry about it. He was like, nah. He was just very persistent. He was like, no, I'm sorry, let me take you to lunch. I'm like, it is not that big of a deal. He was like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to take you to lunch. I'm going to make it right. And I'm like, yo, it's cool. But he would not let up. So me being me, you was pressing. But I was like, you know, I know him, so it's cool. So he ended up coming back into town from LA. That's another thing, ladies, if he wants you, he gonna come get you. All right? Goodness gracious.
Lord,
so
I got you.
This man flew from LA to Hampton to take me to lunch. And y'all can't even get a Negro to pick up the phone. I just don't understand it. So, and he did that on his own regard. I didn't ask him.
Yeah, for sure.
No, nothing. He did that on his own. So then.
And you know what it was, though? It was because I valued our friendship.
You did.
Like that.
You did.
And like beyond anything else that I may have wanted things to go and spread to like they are right now, flourishing. I think I valued our relationship the most, our friendship. Like
I'm gonna say it was a friendship.
So that's why I was like, yeah, like I really want to stand on business with that. Like, so I was just like, yeah, I want to follow up with my work.
Yeah, so I was having a bad day at work. And I had just entered the mental health field. I was my first time being a supervisor. Mm-hmm. And the day he hit me up and was like, I'm in town, I'm like, yo, I can't today. So because I knew him, I let him in my house. So we did a little 1-2 in the house. It was a real date, not no Netflix and chill, nothing like that. It was a real date, but it was real chill.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm being petty.
What you about to say?
I was just saying.
To what?
Like it was not a Netflix and chill.
I thought you were trying to say something.
It was a genuine moment.
It was a
Fellas,
genuine.
it ain't always a Netflix and chill vibe. No.
And one thing I definitely respect about him because he had sessions. So I knew he won't coming over to get a Netflix and chill because he had to go to work after me. He fit me in his schedule. So I was like, I respected that. Came over. Mind you, I made him cancel the rest of the night, but that's either here or there. But the vibe was good. We talked, we chilled, we ate. And it was a very cool vibe. Yeah. And from there, he never left. Now, let me tell you another thing, ladies. I told this man straight up from the gate. What'd I tell you?
Hey, it's you and somebody else.
I did tell him. I said, you're not the only person I'm talking to.
I said, oh, that other person here? Nah, he's somewhere else. Okay, so anytime I land here, you with me then, right?
But what's the other thing that I said?
And you was like that you gotta go down there and figure it out.
No. I told you I was outside. I was traveling. Oh, yeah. I was living my life.
She let it be known that, hey, I'm single and I am living my life.
And I didn't want to be in a relationship.
And you was all very open and very transparent from the beginning. Hey, I don't want a relationship. And I said, you know what? That's okay. Because at that moment in time, I knew that I won't truly ready to.
What you said was because I said I wasn't ready for a relationship. I said I don't know what I want. It's between you and another guy, and I don't even know if I want a relationship. Right. And you said I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna be your friend. That's exactly what you said. Yeah. I'm gonna be your friend.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna show you. So it's cool. I'm cool. Yeah. Then I even told you I said I'm about to go to homecoming. Shout out to Florida A&M University. I'm about to live my life. I'm about to see what's up with my ex.
She went to homecoming.
Yes, and I said I'm about to see what's up with my ex. And he was like, I'll be here when you get back. Wow. I never get that.
I said, that's fine. When you leave, I'm going to be in this house. When you come right back, because you're coming right back, I want to still be here.
He was so confident. And I was just like, no, like, I'm living. And he was like, nah, I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to be here. You're going to be mine. And I was like, boy, you crazy. But anyway, I ended up coming back after homecoming. And we ended up in a relationship. Because he wouldn't go nowhere.
Because I wouldn't go nowhere?
No, you wouldn't go nowhere.
You're missing an important piece that you haven't told people. The key. When did you present that to me?
You want to talk about this?
That's if you're comfortable with talking about it.
Okay, go ahead. No, you tell your story. Forward, no, you tell your quick little story about the key.
So shortly after we were becoming to and I have these vibes and every time
I was living in sin, y'all. I don't live in sin no more.
Yeah, it's all good. It's cool. We don't know by the Lord. So at that time, I was swooping in and out every week or every other week into Hampton, Newport News,
Virginia. He was coming to see me,
and it became more of, okay, I'm handling business with my recording studio and other clientele, to, hey, look, I'm really coming to see you.
He was canceling sessions.
Yeah, I started canceling.
His homeboys were like, "Yo, what's up? Like, what's up with you? You don't do this.
Yo, you traveling a little too much, bro. Like, you all right?"
I remember one time we got in an argument, and I was so mad. And this boy was like, "I gotta go to Oakland." I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever. I don't care."
Talk about that, yeah.
I was like, "I don't care." He was like, "I gotta go to Oakland." I'm like, "Whatever. I'm not talking to you. It's cool." I called out of work that day because I was so mad. I never forget. I was in the bathroom.
And I didn't know.
And I thought I had an Amazon package. He was like, "Yo, I just landed. I'm on my way to Oakland. I'm in my car." Because one thing about it, we talked on the phone every day, all day, on FaceTime, sure. All day, every day. So I knew where he was at. I knew what he was doing. It wasn't a check thing, like check me thing. It was just I was involved in his schedule and he was involved in my schedule, to the point where as soon as I got off of work, I was going home. I was telling my homegirls, I'm going home because my man is going to call me. I'm going to be at home on FaceTime. So he this particular day we had gotten a big argument because long distance did not work for me. I tried it did not work for me.
Yeah.
And we got in an argument and he was like, "I'm going to Oakland." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I went downstairs, go get the Amazon picture. And the Amazon no, this is what happened. I'm sorry. He got out the car. He was like, "Yo, babe, I'm in my car. I just want to make sure you know that I'm in my car." So I'm like, "All right, cool." He flips the camera around. It's my mailbox. I'm like, "What you doing here?" He was like, "Baby, you was mad. I just had to come see about you." Now, he didn't know at the time, but at that time, I had already made up my head, like, I'm finna be with him. Like, but I had to play it cool.
Yeah, play it cool, yeah.
It was that, and there was another time where he had left my house, and he said he had to go to work or something, and he ended up calling me. He was like, "Yo, I never knew what your breakfast order was, because I'm getting breakfast for myself. I want to know what your breakfast order is." Right. And I'm like, "Oh, this." He was at Chick-fil-A. I was like, "Oh, this is what I like." He brought it to my house. That was the first time, like, I'm like, wow, like you moving like my daddy. You moving way like my daddy. So it was those two things. And then the third thing that made me be like, I'm locked in because I want to move forward with this because we ain't got much time. Locked in is like I said, I was living in sin. Okay. So nobody else has to tell my story. I can tell my story. We were living together. And that's why we married now. Okay. I got it together. I knew I was the example. Shout out to Bishop Howard E. Hurd because he got me together. The last thing that got me is that before the pandemic happened, I had just went to Jamaica in January with my friends, and I left him home because I had already booked because, baby, I was going to travel. That's another thing. Y'all need to travel regardless. Not even just travel. Do you regardless. If it's meant to be, they will come. They will follow you. But I was doing me because I didn't have no ring on my finger.
That person will come. That person will follow. That person will stay.
Yeah.
If it's true and genuine, for sure.
So I went to Jamaica, came back, and that's when all this stuff started to pop up on the news about coronavirus. And I told you, I remember the day we were standing upstairs, and I said, "Yo, I really love you." But I said, "I really want you to live your dreams."
Yeah.
I was like, "I really want you to live your dreams." And I said, "I don't know what's about to happen," because we didn't know. I said, "I don't know what's about to happen, but I feel like LA is about to shut down. And your plane ticket was for the next 2 days. It was like in 2 days.
Yeah, it was like on a Wednesday. We had this discussion like on a Monday.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, "I can't do a long distance relationship, but what I cannot do is hold you back from your dreams." So I said, "You need to go there." I said, "But I think you're going to get trapped." This is before I knew anything about a shutdown. Because we didn't know nothing. But I specifically remember saying, "I feel like LA gonna get shut down." And I said, "If that's the case, then that's fine. You gonna stay over there and I'm gonna stay over here." And what was your decision?
Yo. I ain't been back to LA since.
No, he never went back.
I ain't been back to LA. That was March of 2020.
But what made you make that decision?
Because at that moment in time, I really realized that you are the woman that I want to love for the rest of my life. And I'm willing to bet anything and everything on it.
Yeah.
And would not be a true testament to that then to make a strong shift in decision at that moment right in there. I said, okay, if the work is good, which I done already proved to myself and others, the work is good. I'm gonna always find work.
Yeah, he made that choice.
But I'm ready to build a family. I'm ready to build something bigger than myself.
But even when you made a decision, you weren't ready for marriage yet, because you told me.
Nah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't ready for marriage, but at that moment in time, I knew what I wanted.
But even with you not being ready for marriage, you knew what you wanted.
Yeah, I knew.
And I feel like dudes be out here playing.
I feel like with dudes kind of somewhat know what they. Here's the thing, guys know what they want.
You took the risk.
That's the other part, though. Some people don't want to take that risk because they're scared of commitment.
And you were vulnerable.
And they're scared to be vulnerable because they see yourself as being vulnerable as a weakness to people. If I open up so much to a particular person, that person may backstab me and use that to their advantage against me. And that's always true. Let's not get that wrong. Let's not get it misconstrued. That's very true. But without great risks, there's no great rewards.
And another reason why I knew you were the one. Are we being raw? We being honest?
We being raw.
Another reason why I knew he was the one, because my husband was doing a lot of things that he shouldn't have been doing, right?
Absolutely.
He was out there in the streets selling things, and I never once told you to stop. I prayed about it. I prayed to God about it, and you stopped doing things on your own.
I did, and then it came to the point where, this is like around a time where, I think this is after I proposed to you. After I proposed to you, I came up with a decision. I said, you know what?
That boy proposed to me with no money, with no ring.
I had money, though. Don't get it wrong.
No ring.
Yeah, I ain't had a ring, though. Yeah.
It was in my apartment with Dollar Tree candles.
Yeah.
My nails weren't done. He looked a mess. My hair wasn't done.
Yeah,
like nobody has seen that proposal. Nobody's seen that proposal.
It's still in your phone to this day.
It is
locked away.
That boy proposed to me without a ring.
Yeah,
like he was like, I ain't got nothing, but I want you.
It was so genuine. But I knew at that moment it was not the vibe.
I kicked him out the night before.
It's so great.
I kicked him out the night before.
The dynamic. She kicked me out the night before. And at that moment, and I feel like at that moment, that was probably our biggest.
Oh, that was our biggest argument because it got to my parents.
That was like our biggest.
That was the first argument that my parents were involved in.
Yeah.
Because he was at my parents' house.
Yeah.
And I moved all his stuff out while he was there.
Oh, yeah, she did. It was in a brown box. I still got that brown box to this day.
And I didn't know you was over there asking for my parents' hand. I mean, you was asking for my hand to my parents.
She didn't even know. I had already had a meeting with her father like a couple of days prior before, so I was sitting there with the whole family, and I was sitting there talking to, her mother, asking for the hand.
And I'm texting my mother.
Permission from the father and her godfather and all.
He went to my father. He went to my godfather. He went to my parents. He went to all the people that was important to me. And I'm texting my mama like, kick him out the house. Like, choose me. I'm your daughter.
Right, yeah.
And he proposed to me the next day. And that was that. But then he actually came and gave me the proposal that I actually wanted the year after, right, baby?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, he did a real proposal the way that I wanted.
Because shortly after we got married, and then we did a bigger wedding because it was still the pandemic going on. So we just figured, you know what, we want to do something for the people, like the people that's special in our life. Yeah, let's do a wedding for them.
Yeah, we got married in the pandemic, so we couldn't invite everybody because people still mad about it.
Absolutely not to this day. But before we did that one, I figured, I said, you know what, I need to make something special. I still need to create some type of special moment. And this is to let all fellas and anybody know that at the end of the day, it is never too late. It's only too late when you choose not to act on it. That's the only time when it's too late. Other than that, act upon it. If it's in your head, act upon it. You never know what happens.
Don't delay.
You know what I'm saying?
So now we've been married.
You did that, and
we've been married for almost 4 years in June.
Yep.
So I will say this. We can spend a little bit of time on this and we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, I know.
But but we've been married for us. We don't have a lot of married friends. We don't.
Yeah, we don't have too many married friends.
And everybody always say
that's not older than us. Like, you know, I feel like we have a few. But a lot of them are older than us. Not too many people that's around our age group.
But people be like, if they don't love me like Gerald White loves Tesha, I don't want them. But I will say this. Being married, we're at 4 years now. I think year 3 was the worst. Year 3 is when stuff started to get real.
Yeah, year 3 stuff. It was a lot of change. It was a lot of shifting going on. And I think to us reacting to that shift was very difficult. And because our communication started to change because of those things.
But also like adult things that we had to deal with. So this is what I want to bring out from this. When me and Gerald got together, and you have to pay attention to where you are in your life. Because when Gerald started to pursue me, I should have said that first. When he tried to pursue me, I was in a space of I don't want to date. I want to live my life. I want to travel. I was making good money. That was my first time I was seeing money for real. And so with him, I wasn't like, I was just like, oh, it is what it is. It was nothing concrete. It was nothing like, well, I didn't think about it. Like, I was just going with the flow. But it was also dangerous because our relationship was just like, oh, just going in the wind, whatever. We weren't talking about foundation things. Yeah. We weren't talking about the future. We weren't talking about our non-negotiables. We weren't talking about how we're going to raise our kids. Are we compatible? We weren't talking about none of that because we were outside. We was living it up. We were whining and dining. I'm going to restaurants that my parents never been to before. I'm going every week. We was doing all of that. We was going on shopping sprees. He was buying me a pair of shoes every week. I mean, he was cooking for me all the time. It was just money being spent. We didn't care about nothing else. And I'm saying all of that is because that's why year 3 was hard for us, because we didn't take care of the foundational things that needs to be done. So I know in this day and time that we're in, everybody's like, oh, let's be outside. If he not spending this, and vice versa, they're not spending this, they're not doing that. Like, we're focused on the materialistic things, the things that are like real quick and tangible. But you have to deal with the core parts, because that's why we seeing divorces like crazy. Yeah. Because you're not having them real conversations. Some people avoid confrontation, things of that nature. Some dudes can't be with girls because girls are making more money than them and they're not secure, or vice versa. Right. So, but that's why year 3 was hard for us, because it was time to wake up.
No, for sure. Yeah, it was a lot of things that was happening in our lives that caused us to, and also that caused us to like, hey, like, we ain't got no choice but to wake up and deal with it, like, figure it out, like ASAP. Like,
I think year 3 is when we realize, when they say that if God is not in your marriage, you ain't gonna make it. I feel like year 3 is when we both just like realize like God has to be the focus of this relationship, because at that point
he has to come first.
He has to. Yeah. At that point, Gerald couldn't convict me. He couldn't make me feel like I was wrong. It had to be God. It could only be God to convict me and be like, remember the vow that you made to me? But if I didn't have that relationship with God, our marriage would have been like everybody else in these tabloids. But like, marriage is such a beautiful sacrifice.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful sacrifice. But if you're not willing to put in the work, if you're not willing to look dirty on some days and he look clean, or vice versa, it's not going to work. Point blank, period. And one of the things that I love that my husband does, and I'm going to let him speak after me, is that even when I don't think I ever told you this, but when I'm really upset, it's hard for him to talk to me. I'm a work in progress.
Okay.
But he'd be like, can we pray? And I'd be like, no, I don't want to pray with you. I don't want to pray with you. But he does not let up on that. Like, every single time he'd be like, and if I say no, guess what he started doing? I start hearing him whisper. He praying to himself. So that's one thing that I can say has really saved us. Because in times I wanted to check out, he was like, oh, okay. I asked, but I'm going to do what I need to do.
No, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, I have to give it up to God. It's like we experienced so many problems, so many issues that it was like, it's not for us to solve. I gotta hand that over to somebody higher than me. I have to, and God is right there every single time. So
you gotta admit that you're wrong, or maybe that you didn't understand for real about things, and that can be a lot for people.
Yeah, that's a fact. And you know, for a lot of things in our relationship, even till to this day, like there's a lot of things that I don't understand, and there's a lot of things that I'm still growing in. I'm a work in progress. You know, God's working on me every single day. But with that being said, you know, I always make sure to put Him first. Like it's like when I go back to year 3 and I go back to now, it's like every single thing. I don't move without consulting with Him first. I don't.
Even when I'm mad, so when I'm mad at you, I'm not talking to you. That's what you be doing.
I mean, every single time, I'm always gonna pray first.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How do you handle the hard moments when I stop talking to you?
When you stop talking to me, first things first, I ask for God for forgiveness, because I may have triggered something and I may have unknowingly known it, or I might even knowingly known it. But if the cause is me, first, I'm going to ask for forgiveness in that manner. Then, 2, I'm going to ask for guidance, because in that moment in time, I truly, genuinely need some sense of guidance. Because sometimes in the physical world that we in, sometimes we may know what's right and what's wrong, but sometimes our actions don't always line up to that. And I'm the first one to always say that, like, hey, a lot of times what I may say, I may talk a great game and things like that, but sometimes my actions may not always follow through. And that's a whole nother topic too within itself.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into that.
We ain't gonna go too deep into that, but nonetheless though, I would say that, you know, when it comes to those times, I gotta admit and submit that to God first.
So let me,
I gotta ask for guidance and ask for, okay, how can I get my way through the situation, and how can I be forgiveful about the situation, and then also make it up. And choose not to do that again.
You said be forgetful. Is that what you meant to say?
Not forgetful, but forgetful.
Okay, I was about to say. Oh, maybe I heard it wrong. Okay.
Yeah, it's so, a country accent.
You are not country. Anyway.
New York people wouldn't say that.
How has it been being a married man amongst the people that you usually deal with on a day-to-day, business-wise?
Oh, our relationships have changed.
Does that hurt you?
No, it don't hurt me at all.
Do they ever say anything to you about it? Like,
absolutely. At first, people used to definitely say stuff like that, man. Man, you done changed, man. You a whole different guy. Well, I'm not here to stay the same.
Have you lost friends?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How has that affected you?
How has it affected me? Well, I've always been a person that moved and don't have many friends anyway.
True.
Because of the type of business that I'm in and how.
But I'm still asking, how does it affect you?
How does it affect me? Okay, so it affects me in a manner, a way of like, so, you know, sometimes I feel, you know, I have sorrow towards the relationship, or I feel like, dang, things really are switching up, and now it's just becoming more of a cutthroat relationship. Like, it's straight business. It's not really nothing personal adding into it and things of that nature.
Does that make you feel lonely?
At times I dealt with it, and I'm like, it made me feel lonely, but at the same time, I'm a very busy man, and, you know, I'm thankful.
Busy by choice?
Oh,
do you stay busy to not deal with the stuff that you got to deal with? That's my question to you today, sir.
Direct. Yes, honestly, I feel like that's partly some of it.
Fresh off the press.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely partly it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's.
So you do be going to the studio at night because you don't want to deal with me.
Oh, I never said that. You see, shot she take an inch and go a mile, fellas. People gonna do that on you. Don't fall for the trap. No, actually not. No, what I mean by that, love, is that the fact that I'm a very busy person. And yes, I choose to be very busy at times. The reason why I choose to be very busy at times is because I know God has gave me a capacity. He gave me a certain level of energy and power that I know I need to exalt to the world and use. And because I feel like that the power and the things that God gives me is just like muscles. If you don't use them, they're going to weenie and die themselves away, for lack of a better term. So that's why I keep myself busy. And from the very beginning, especially once we started talking, before we even became boyfriend and girlfriend and now husband and wife, I was very busy then. And now my level of busyness have not changed. The only thing that has really changed is my priority.
So, okay, stop right there.
Priority has become more. So
stop right there. My next question is, because Daddy asked us a question, I want to make sure we address that.
Yeah.
current time today, you as a man, what have you had to shift? What have you had to make a priority to do differently to make sure that you honor your marriage and honor the promises that you made to yourself, if that makes any sense?
No, it makes sense.
And how, you're basically telling them like what you had to do.
Okay. First things first, I'm going to be keeping it 100 with you, keep it honest with you. First thing that changed is my relationship with God. That's the first number one thing. My relationship with God changed drastically. So
how
I had great conversations, and I had I felt like at that time I had a great rapport with God, but now it's just becoming deeper and deeper because I'm starting to, it's not just me, and I'm dealing with someone who I know when we stand beside each other at times we're two, but we're becoming one. We're still in that process of truly becoming one. We are one, but we're still in that process of melding ourselves together. So in that process, I need help and guidance. And a lot of times I don't have the answer, Sway. So, I got to go to somebody higher than me. I got to go to a book that has all the answers already written out. So that's that, number one. Number two, I would say for me, I'm a workaholic. My work life has changed drastically.
Okay, before you get into that, how is, because I'm gonna come back to that. How is, you said you became more spiritual, you talked to God more, right? How is that measured? So you saying that you was talking to God one day a week, and then now you talking to him every day. Like, how is that measured? How did you?
So I feel like that capacity is different for everybody.
I'm saying for you,
but for me, yes, I had a conversation. I will have conversations with God every week, like more than once. Now it's every single day. It's throughout the day. It's every morning. It's before I go to sleep. It's during the midst of the time of the day. I may come with confrontation. I may have great things that happen. I may have bad things and experiences that happen. I'm coming to God straight to it first. Now, compared to like I'm running the man.
Okay,
and a lot of times my emotions or my how I've been bred, for lack of a better term, has been to run the people, run the man. And now I'm shifting to more to run to God before I run to anybody else.
And I've seen that. So the second thing you said was work life. Yeah. How was that measured as well for the audience? So you went to working every day to like, how do you measure that?
So now I'm still a work in progress. Let's speak on that first. Yes. I'm still a work in progress. And she can attest to that.
I'll be home by myself.
But like, she knows more than anybody, I'm a workaholic. And and people know me for that, and that goes into the third
and
thing.
Now I make him go on vacations.
Yeah, and that taps into the third thing with dealing with people with my work relationship, because my work relationship and anything else that flourished from that has been built from what work first. Then it built into any and everything else. So once people start seeing me draw back from work, they like, yo, what's up, man? Like, why you don't come around? Why you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Why we ain't dealing with this? Why we ain't doing this no more? Why we can't do that no more? Hey, nah, man, I'm shifting, bro. There's a lot more things that's bigger than just this work. Like, man, I got a vision. I got a vision to start a family. I got a vision to be with somebody and build a legacy with. And I have to understand that the work that I do for other people, where's that time and that effort into us?
And that was another thing.
And I had to shift that drastically.
You did, and I was not letting up on that because it bothered me. This is the last thing we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna have to wrap it up now. So the thing that I did the most, and you were like, I've never done this before. I was like, oh, we going on vacation. You was like, what's a vacation?
No, for sure.
He was like, what's a vacation? Everywhere he had been was mostly because of music or like school stuff.
It's because of work.
That was it. He was like, what's a vacation? And then I started getting you clothes and stuff and things of that nature, because you were so dedicated in your work that you did not even like, you did the minimum. Like, you had clothes enough to wear, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't do the, as much as the average person. So I came in and was like, are we doing this? I'm gonna get you this.
Yeah.
Like, because like he was literally not taking care of himself at all. He was just doing the bare minimum to get by. And I feel like in that I showed him that I could be a wife in that nature. I'm not the typical wife. I don't clean. Oh, so I'm just letting that know. I get the house clean every 2 weeks. My husband is the cleaner, and I don't cook, and my husband is the cooker. But there are other things, and that's the other thing. Marriage doesn't look the same for everybody. There's other things that I do for him that he doesn't do that makes up for that, and vice versa. So you said what?
That's facts.
Yeah, I forgot my point. What was my point?
Well, look, let me pick up from what you're saying, though. So I'm gonna pick up from what she's saying. Is just like, yo, at the end of the day, I know for me, before I got to my wife, like I was more still in the surviving mode. Like I was doing great in the industry.
You was not enjoying life.
But I wasn't really enjoying life for myself. Like I was working for a machine and I was just doing work. I would work 16 to 24-hour days. Yes, he just said 24-hour days. 24-hour days.
You were numbing yourself.
At times, yeah, I was doing nothing but numbing myself more. Now I'm in the process of unlearning to numb myself.
And it's very uncomfortable. Yeah, and it's been hard. It's been really rough.
It's been a process, and she can attest to it. But at the same time, like, that's what it's all about, yo. Like, so when I shifted, like, I gotta change. Like, actions have to change.
Yeah, everything. A beautiful sacrifice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sacrifice.
You have your person, they're there. The one thing we go through our ups and downs. I mean, it's nothing but God that we are standing here today at this very moment, and we'll have he's probably gonna come back too because we got more stuff to talk about. But like, it's a beautiful sacrifice, and it's like you have to remember what you took a vow to, and that still applies when you're really courting somebody. Like, if we're gonna be real, and you say you really want me, and it's what you want to do, and then tap in, you gotta treat it like it's a marriage without giving all the privileges of a marriage. That's what it is. So don't give up. Don't give up. If the Lord has told you that this is where I'm supposed to be, you have peace about it. Sometimes you're going to have to fix yourself in order to be in that relationship with that person. But for anybody that's out there that's struggling in marriage and things of that nature, that's around our age, you got to put God in it. Like, that's just what it is. But we'll have Gerald back for more. But my last question to you is, you got 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
What are you going to say to the people out there? What you got to say to them?
All right, so
what do you need to take away?
At the end of the day, fellas, ladies, at the end of the day, if you're pursuing somebody, why wait? Go after that person. I went after the person that I've been wanting my whole life. I'm there. And we're continuously growing from there. Point blank, period. If you want something in life, if you want someone in life, go at it.
Because love is an action word.
Love is only an action word. Mm-hmm. It's nothing else but an action word. Mm-hmm. So that's where we at with it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, just stay up with us. You know what I'm saying? Meet the Whites on Instagram.
Drop your handles.
Mixed by G White on Instagram and everywhere else. We also got the Music Tech page, MUSIQ Tech. So at Music Tech, Black Element Recording Studio.
How can they book you for a session?
If they want to book me for a session, they can just hit me directly. If you can go through my Instagram, that usually works out well. DMs always work. You can holler at me through Facebook and any social media platforms that you can find me on. And yeah, everything's Mixed by G White. So yeah, that's where we at with it.
All right, that's where we at, y'all. Thank you for joining another episode of Me and the Hubby. He's got to come back. He's got to come back. But we got a lot
Thank you also, too. I appreciate you for taking the time out and, allowing
Of course. Thank you for coming for free.
Hey.
Anyway, but yeah, so thank you for joining, and we hope that you join for the next episode, and see y'all later. Bye, fam.